this demonstration, we're going to examine two very recent versions of the Conti ransomware payload and how BlackBerry Protect and Optics defend against these attacks by preventing the malware from running. In this example, we're going to take a system that has the modern version of BlackBerry Protect installed, and we're going to verify that we can communicate with the internet. And the reason we're going to do this is because we're going to actually take the system offline. We're going to take the system away from the internet, removing any sort of cloud reputation service lookup or any other service that is out there on the internet that a modern AV product must connect to improve its detection. We want to highlight the fact that the local AI engine is actually able to detect and prevent the malware from running. Now that the system is in its offline mode and we're disconnected from the internet, we're simply going to grab our samples of the Conti ransomware payload. And we've got a couple of very modern, very recent samples here. We're going to drag and drop them to the desktop. And it's very simple. We can go ahead and wait for the background detection to finish, or we can go ahead and just immediately double click and attempt to execute the malware, and we can see very quickly that the files are both detected and quarantined. We've detected that they are, completely unsafe, and we've prevented the system from being compromised by these two samples of the Conti ransomware. Now, interestingly enough, this is a current version of BlackBerry Protect. However, it's still relatively old when it comes down to the AI model. So this file here, this infinitymodel.dll, is the actual AI model that exists on the endpoint. And this was released to the world back at the end of November of 2020. So even now in May of 2021, this file is over 6 months old, well before either of these two samples of the Conti ransomware were known to the public world. Now we're going to switch over to a different Protect system that happens to be much older, and we're going to conduct the same test and see if Protect is actually able to successfully prevent the running of the Conti ransomware payload with an AI model that was built many years ago. And in fact, this version that we're going to test this against is our 2015 version. And in fact, again, if we look at the locally installed AI model, this Infinity model file, we can see that this is from October of 2015. This version is over 5 years old, and we're going to test it against the brand new samples of the Conti ransomware payload that have been out there recently. Again, we're going to do exactly the same procedure that we did on the modern version. We're going to make sure that this version is unable to communicate with the internet by taking the system offline. And this, again, is going to do the same thing that we do with the modern version. It's going to make sure that the prevention of the malware that's running locally is detected and prevented using local information and not relying on any third-party reputation or any cloud service. We're going to do the exact same test. We're going to grab the exact same two files, drag and drop them to the desktop, attempt to execute them, and we're going to see very quickly that Protect does its job of preventing the ransomware payloads from running and quarantines the files safely away from the user and the host. And again, this version is over 5 years old without any sort of cloud connectivity, showing that AI can actually prevent malware from running.